Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Pride Pod. It's Monday, June 16th, 8:09 p.m. I'm here with John. John, what's up, my friend?
Good. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, how's everything? We're going to be talking today about the review, the way win at Bay FC. We're also going to be talking about the Racing Louisville game that's away coming up and our score predictions. John, you want to take it away?
Yes, indeedy. A good 1-0 win away at Bay FC. Uh, a result, Luis, that I predicted. So
I
you
know.
know, I got the City and the Pride result right in
I
one
know.
week.
Back to back.
I don't know how I did that.
That's great.
But a 1-0 gritty away win, as I suspected. I think a lot of it to do with the fact that we're not scoring as free flowing. We talked about that last week. I still think we have a little bit of issue there, but the defense being solid once again, getting the clean sheet, and that's all we needed to get the win away at Bay FC, a team that we now have the record of 3-0 against Luis. We beat them um, last, sorry, 2-0. We beat them last year. Uh, yes, no, sorry, 3-0 now. Yeah, we beat them last year 1-0 and 1-0 in both of those results. This year we beaten them 1-0 again. So we'd like to a 1-0 game. Anna loves playing in Bay. She loves playing Bay. She gets a clean sheet every time. So par for the course, I'd say, Luis. What are your thoughts on this away
Yeah,
result?
look, Orlando scored in the second half, and then they really held on. They played really good defensively, especially in the final moments. Bay was going gun ho to win this, or at least to tie it up at PayPal Park, which it was announced it's going to be the location of the neutral site for the NWSL final. It's a little far, in my opinion. I don't know how you think about that, but it's a Barbara Banda
Uh,
golazo, the 58th minute, that made the difference. As a Pride claimed their fifth clean sheet of the season, John.
yes, indeed. I feel like there were times in this game where Bay FC were all over us, but we just had that edge from last year where we were not allowing them to get the goal. Overall, Luis, they had a problem there where lots of shots, not so many on target. We had 7 total shots and 4 of them were on target. So a little bit, more accuracy from us taking that chance, of course. But they did have a lot of the ball and a lot of chances, especially in the beginning of the second half. Here, you just saw on the screen a great save from Anna Morehouse early
She
in the
had a
game.
she had a phenomenal
There
game.
was a few of those moments where Anna really, but it definitely got tight, and it got to the point where it was like, oh, we could concede and potentially tie this one. So sometimes I would like us to see, to go for that second goal, and not have to always try and rely on just a 1-0 win.
Look, I agree with you. I also want to add that I want to talk about the Pride's back line. Emily Sams, Nadanner, I think you mentioned also. Carson Pickett,
Yeah,
resilient game by them. I mean, I think Bay had like over 20 shots,
yeah,
and they cut a lot of the clear cut chances. I mean, it was resilient as it is. And one thing that really impressed me the most, I do want to say, and I don't know if people agree, you can leave your comments right there. Orlando right now, and you may not like the way, and obviously each season is gonna get tougher for us. I feel as a team, and you have to reinvent the wheel, reinvent the tactics. Also, some players may go down with injuries. We gotta be happy what we have right now because we are playing like defending champs. I mean, the composure and the poise and the level headedness they had throughout the game, it's what instinctively won them the game, in my opinion. I think them being so composed in the moment in which Bay was just attacking even erratically, you know, and they had the momentum. Orlando did not get desperate. They poised themselves, they composed themselves to withstand Bay FC's onslaught, and I felt Seb and Giles, everyone, not only the coaching staff but also the players, just they were managing the game very effectively, and eventually they got the 3 points. It's a huge win. I mean, it's a tough, look, John, like if you fly from Orlando to the Bay Area and then come back, like you're gonna be so jet lagged.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive, and I think that sometimes you see it on championship teams, and I think they're honing that resilience and turning it into getting W's that, yes, it was a tough game. Yes, physically they look overpowered at times offensively by Bay, but I mean they didn't give that ball up. They fought hard.
Yeah, I think we are the defensively the hardest team to beat in the league. I think, Sporting, not Sporting, sorry,
That's what he
KC
did.
Current are offensively the best team in the league, right? That this year. So I think we still have that defensive edge, that grittiness from last year. We need to build up our attack and get some more goals from other people that isn't just Barbara. But defensively, I think we're as good as last year, if not better in some games. I think the back line just can do that. Like I said, I don't want to do that. I don't want to win every game 1-0 with us holding on to it. But if we do, then the results result, and 3 points is 3 points. I'd like to see a little bit more in the attack. I think maybe just with it being away games, especially Luis, we're probably not going to do that. At home, we tend to be a lot more aggressive and go for it a bit more. But like you said, they're away at Bay, and then they got to come back this weekend, and then not that long a turnaround, because on Friday, as we'll get to later in the pod, they're going to be playing Racing Louisville away. So another sort of mid-country away trip for them this time. So 2 away games back to back. That travel, if we can get another 3 points in another away game, it's professional. It's getting the job done. It's keeping us up there. It's not, winning with a lot of, it's not super convincing, you know what I mean? But we are grinding out results.
For sure. And what I was talking about, the resilience and having that control of the game and the effort, this sums it up to me.
For Bay. Corner for Bay. Morehouse bobbles in front, saved off the line. Kundananji. Score.
Like, look how many bodies they go to stop Kunda. And I guarantee you, if you
Yeah.
tell Carrie to put her face on the ball, she's gonna put her face, and she's gonna let the ball hit her face. Like they are. And now, obviously, that's a bad that's a bad jump by Anna. You know, right there. Don't you feel?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because we talk about this on the City Pod, and it's
Yeah.
with Pedro, and it's the same thing, right? Like, it's Anna is a great keeper. She's an England national team keeper. She's a championship winning keeper. She's gonna make incredible saves. Like, she kept us in this game at several points. But there are these moments, like we've talked about before, where she just makes, boneheaded errors. And this was one. She has her hands on the ball. She just needs to bring that into her chest, fall to the ground, keep her hands on it, and she drops it midair. It falls down, and we get really lucky. But great center backs, so these great defenders, they never assume the play is over. They're always there watching and getting themselves in good positions. And the fact that Kylie the Downer, and you see Emily Sams is right next to her, both of them, as soon as they see Anna drop that ball, they move back into that position right there. You can see as you pause it, because they know, okay, well, the first thing I can do is just get my body on the line. As a center back, you're instinctively taught that, if the keeper is messed up or you're about beyond the keeper, best thing you can do is just get your body on the line, try and save it with your legs, get yourself in the way. both of them do that, we get very lucky that it comes close enough to Kylie Nadana and she clears it away, and that saves it from being 1-1. So
100.
minus for Anna, but plus points for Kylie and Emily, who just show how good they are
I
as well.
think she saw
I mean,
Mac.
they probably learned a little bit, like because
Yeah,
Anna,
she saw Macron and Anna doing drills of that, and she
it
became
happens.
a second goalkeeper almost. But
Yeah,
you
I
know,
mean, they have a really good relationship. Our back three, the
yeah,
center backs and the goalkeeper, but they probably know sometimes that, oh, Anna's dropped it. I gotta do what I can to save the situation, and she did.
yeah. While Bay FC created probably the most chances at goal, soccer and football in general rewards efficiency, and Orlando's way of scoring and defending, to me, was what led the win, and was just decisive. Um, Bay FC had a failure of capitalizing on the chances, and ultimately that cost them. Orlando's win to me was deserved in the context of how they executed this game, and I think, you know, playing at PayPal Park, against a team that's very physical, and they already demonstrated it. Long trip, you know, and it shows that this team is definitely up to something. I think maybe not with the undefeated streak they had before, but they're definitely, you know, getting up there now. You want to check out the stats? Is there anything else you want to add about this victory, John?
No, I think one argument you could say that we were kind of lucky a little bit, and Bay FC played pretty well, and another day we probably could have conceded one. The other argument is that, like we said, we played a really good defensive game and saw a professional 1-0 win on the road. Either way you slice it, we came away with the win, another 1-0 away win. So I think that the main takeaway for me was I was hoping from the Houston game. Sorry, that was a 1-0 home win, but from the Utah Royals game, the Houston game, and this game, that we're going to see a bit more in the attack, like we did against Utah, but against Houston and Bay, we could have scored more goals. We haven't scored more goals. I think the biggest thing for me, Luis, is we need someone else beside Barbara. We need, sorry, multiple players outside of Barbara to really step up and start scoring goals. Um, you know, whether that's Marta or Summer Yates looks very bright, or Ali Watt figuring it out, or Julie Doyle, or whoever it is. But right now, a lot of it just kind of seems like if Barbara's not going to score, then no one else is going to score. So we still need to figure that out, and we need to figure it out before we play Kansas City Current again, because they're just going to shut down Barbara, and then we're not going to have anybody else who's able to do much.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the big difference makers, and I do agree with John in regards to this season, is that the bench is really not causing a lot of impact, especially in the attacking third. And again, I know I sound like a broken record, but and I hate pointing people out, but I mean, some of these players, they need to step up when they're called, because again, Banda picks up a knock, and then we lose big time, and we don't want to depend on that. You know what I would do if I'm the Pride? I will start looking at one of the top goal scorers in the USL Super League, Women's Super League, and she'll know she'll be on the bench, but I mean, they come hot, scoring, you know, uh, you know, and it'll be, again, yeah, you want to have full trust on your squad, but if your squad's not performing, you still have to do whatever it is for the team to win. I mean, in the end, this is a game. You have to win, and they got to show up. I mean, I expected more of. I expected more of Miss Priska, right? Priska needs to show up and be that striker that we were yearning for, especially what we saw in Mexico. So, but right now the Pride looks pretty good. I mean, 5 points away from Kansas, you know, and San Diego is creeping like right there, uh,
Yeah.
2 points away from the Pride. And what about Esther Gonzalez? She didn't look so hot in the beginning of the season, but now she's like 9 goals.
Yeah, I mean Gotham. I think are really being found out. I think it's like we said, Louise. Gotham were just not a complete team, and it seems to be getting worse for them. Also, there's other teams getting better. Like we're going to talk in a minute about Racing Louisville that are growing. Seattle, Portland. We talked about San Diego Wave as well. All four of those sort of improving from last year. Washington slipping up this week, having had that manager change around. Really, KC Current are doing what we did last year, Luis, and they're just not losing, and they're playing really, really well, and they're performing consistently week in, week out, getting lots of goals. So we got to hope that they slip up, or that at some point, when we play them, for example, we gotta win that game because that's going to be a 6 pointer. But right now, I think if we keep doing what we're doing, that's all we can do. Keep winning games and closing the gap. But their goal difference is not like miles away from ours. But if it keeps going that way, if it comes down to a tight race, goal difference is going to be significant, and that's why we really need to start figuring out how to score more goals. If I look at our team stats, so he's Barbara Banda's on 8 goals, top of our leadership board, and then next is Marta with 3 goals. Assist wise, the most assists in the squad is Carson Pickett with 2. So it kind of shows you that Barbara has scored a lot of goals just on her own, unassisted. I think that's the issue. Is just too much of her soloing, which is great, but we need to have a bit more interplay and setting up and getting other players assists and goals throughout the squad.
Yeah, because then like you said, if if she gets a knock or something may happen with her, we're screwed. I mean, these are really tangible numbers. They needed something about the attacking
Yeah,
third, at least this year, because again, yes, KC can fall. Yes, they can win the Shield and not win the championship. It has happened before, but we're the reigning champs. So we need to do a little better there. We have an attacking prowess, but last year we didn't just depend on Barbara Banda. I remember when Barbara Banda was sidelined with a little bit of a knock,
yeah,
the team still scored more than 2 or 3 goals a game. So what happened? Was the thing.
for sure.
Is
And
that is people are saying, oh,
nah,
it's
it's not.
Adriana.
It's
I
not that at all.
I don't think it's that at all.
That's one player, and I think it's like across the board, right? Like Marta's not producing the numbers she was last year. Julie Doyle's not. Ali Watt is not. And then Summer Yates was injured. Obviously, Summer Yates looks like our brightest player at the moment outside of Banda. I like that when Marta's looked a bit tired, we moved Summer into the 10. I want to see more of Summer playing in the 10 with 2 wingers either side, because I think she's so skillful on the ball, and she's so creative that she has that ability to make something out of nothing.
That's right. So we have a game coming up against Louisville, Racing Louisville, correct?
Yes, indeed. Racing Louisville away on Friday night at 8 o'clock our time.
Yep. And there's a lot of historical tightness in these encounters from both teams. So obviously, we are the NWSL champions, Shield winners. And Racing Louisville is a team that it's kind of rebuilding, and it's always been a Racing Louisville has always been tough with Orlando. It's and so again we're coming into another, I feel, tight game. So All-time series between Orlando Pride and Racing Louisville is as following. Home is a record of 2-3-3. Essentially, home is 2 wins for Orlando, 0 losses, and then 2 losses, and then away is a 1-3-1 in favor of Orlando across all competitions. So the last game we play against them, we beat them 1-0 against. Literally, it was in May 5th of 2024, and it was an Interco Stadium. It was assisted by Emily Sams, according to my notes here. So it was Barbara Banda again. So that same year, earlier in March, this is without Banda, March 16th of 2024, we tied 2-2 in Louisville. Summer Yates scored late for Orlando. So, and then in 2023, Racing Louisville beat us 3-2. So Orlando and Racing Louisville have had it's always been a close game, a difference of 1 goal usually. So this could be another really tight game, John. What are your expectations coming up to this head-to-head against Racing Louisville?
I think it will be, yeah, it will be tight, but they are a team we can definitely beat. They aren't the best defensively. They're kind of ranked like 11th out of 14 in the league defensively. I think it shows where they are in the table. They concede, like a couple goals a game at least. So that's good for us. I feel like they are a good enough team to be able to beat the lower part of the table, but I don't think a good enough team to beat the top half of the table, if that makes sense. Like they're very much, for me, where they are now in 7th is pretty accurate of where I put them. Maybe like a 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th sort of finish table for them. Maybe they'll make the playoffs. Maybe they won't. Most likely they'll be knocked out in the first round if they do make the playoffs. That's really Racing Louisville. I think it's going to be a good gauge, Luis, because they just played Kansas City last week and lost 4-2. So let's see how we, go up against them. Even like Utah Royals put 2 goals in on them, Luis. Like if you're letting Utah score 2 goals on you, who really, it's like Ali Setner is their whole attack. Like how I don't think your defense is that good, and I think that we should be able to, even though it's in their house, go there and score goals, which is hopefully what we will do. I kind of feel for them a little bit because they play Kansas City, then they play us. Then when they come back from the long break, they got to play Kansas City again. Then they got to play us again. Then they got to play Washington Spirit. So their 5 games in a row for them is Kansas City, us, Washington Spirit. Like that's pretty brutal. So this is the beginning of probably like several losses for them. And, I think then they're going to drop down the table. They're, they're a hot, cold kind of team, right? They have moments where they look good and people are like, oh, maybe Racing Louisville can do something. And then the next week they get blown out. So it's that kind of club for me. I don't get excited by them. I think their squad is fairly average. I think their defense is lacking. The tree is always a problem, right? In midfield, Luis. Taylor Flint.
Yeah,
gotta watch out for Taylor Flint.
Well, Taylor Flint, every time, I don't know. I mean, look, she used to be my favorite player, for Orlando Pride. Her and Courtney Peterson, which now they're both in Racing Louisville. Well, they used to be my favorite Pride players. Actually, the coolest to talk to and to like interview and stuff. But they went to the dark side. Louisville. Miss Cornia got married. And then Courtney, also left, and we've rebuilt. We won cups and done great. And I don't know if there's some sort of a little bit of a bickery right there that made me feel a little salty about it. I don't know, but we've done pretty good for ourselves, but yeah, I agree with you. I mean, look, Orlando needs to strike first and give them that psychological pounding from the get go. I feel like you said, our midfield, like players with Morgan Gottrad, Ali Limos, they got to work into disrupting Louisville's possession style of play, in my opinion. And they need to press. We have to continue that pressing high, and again, I think defensively we've been doing really good. Um, so we need to. When's the last time we scored of a set piece? We need to capitalize on those. You know, uh, we cannot depend just on Banda's physicality. So we need to find out that other winger that can assist. It could be Ali, it could be Chalufia. But Louisville sometimes is a little bit disorganized in defense. So it is like that. We have a huge chance to truly capitalize on this team, but also it could be a nightmare for us because you know um, they have some players that could be disruptive too, like Borges, and
Yeah.
so it's gonna be a tight game, but I think we are on paper still, the better team, and I think we need to not forget on how to attack and how to press hard.
Yeah, I mean, I think a couple of interesting stats that go along with that, Luis. You're talking about them being disruptive. They have the best stat that they have is they are number one in the league in possessions won in the final third.
There you go.
Like a considerable jump ahead of Seattle Reign in that stat. And then the other stat that they lead league wide, they have the most accurate crosses per match. Again, significantly higher than like Gotham and us, who are in second and third in that stat. So they average 7 crosses per match, accurate crosses per match. So we got to watch out for these wing backs and the wingers putting in these balls. Emma Sears is their leading goal scorer. She has 6 goals on the season. Like I said, Luis, I think they are very average in NWSL and not really too different from Bay FC in the sense that we can go there and get a result. It might be gritty at times. We might have to, do like we did in the last game, go there and, survive a lot of balls into the box and them high pressing us and, playing gritty and trying to win the ball back and get goals in their house. But I think if we get one again or two, we're going to kind of shut it down. It's going to be a similar situation to what we just saw where we
Look, I'm
close
not
out.
trying.
We close out the
Yeah,
game.
yeah. Look, I'm not trying to discredit Band in any way. Like, I think she's the best player in the league, bar none, and she's the best striker that we have in the city of Orlando. I mean, I'm including the Orlando City as well. But like, it would be nice because last season it happened. Goals from Summer Yates, goals from Yuli Doyle, goals from Ali Watt, goals from Carrie Avella from distance, goals from Haley McCutcheon. She went into a run this season of 2 or 3 goals back to back. We need to go back to that, because again, they could. And again, I don't want to jinx the team, but I started noticing they're pulling this woman off her jersey. They're dragging her down. They're kicking her, and she stands up, like a meerkat with her head up, like don't care. I'm gonna go like this and keep playing, but at some point, somebody's gonna be really dangerous. And I know it's part of the game, but if she goes down, it's gonna bring the momentum of the team down because she's so vital. So I feel like everyone needs to step up equally, you know, just like the defense is obviously. I think this year the defense, it's a little bit more tense for them too because everyone is trying to outdo the Pride, so they have to work twice as hard, in my opinion, to be defensively sound, and they're delivering pretty good. I think in the attacking third, we're losing that that composure and that freshness we used to have last year. And so, I don't know what are some of the things that they can do in practice, but I think for starters, the set pieces, I think that'd be a good opportunity to start working on those a little bit more, and why not? Give using Chalufia's size to size these people up, and again, not to disrespect Peterson, Wright, and Malay and John, but I mean, Chalufia physically, it's bigger than all three of them. So
Yeah, I mean, I do want to see us do more from the set pieces. We talked about that, but just more goals overall and different scores is something we talked about a lot. So, do you want to do our score predictions for this one,
yeah,
Luis?
for sure. Let's do a score predictions.
Well, guess what? I gotta highlight us in here.
I know you gotta highlight yourself in green.
I gotta make this a color. We'll do green. Yay! I got one right. Yay! Yay! There we go. So we got one prediction right on the season so far. A 1-0 last week, as predicted by me. All right, Luis, who you got?
All right, I'm going for a a 2-0 win.
A 2-0 win. Okay. That is funny because I also have a 2-0 win as my plan for this week. So I like it. We're both going a 2-0 win. Any reason why 2-0? You just.
I just feel it's gonna be a low scoring game. I have a feeling Banda is gonna score one of those. I don't know if she's gonna have a brace, but I know she's gonna have score one of those. Uh, I really, to be honest with you, and since I'm a little biased, I don't like Esther to be right there up top in the leading scoring
Only by
table.
one. She's
It
on
annoys
9.
me. Yeah,
And then
but I
Barbara
mean,
and Chewing on 8.
okay, I take it back. Banda needs to score a brace. She needs to score a brace and be up there. I want to see her top right there. So
Yeah, I mean, Gotham is struggling. So, there's definitely opportunities for Banda to take that back. I feel like the defense is solid right now, man. I feel like the
yeah,
2-0 makes sense. I also feel like Racing Louisville are gonna like push up a little bit more and play out a little bit more and be more aggressive, which will allow us to have more space in behind. Like second half, I think like if we get one in the first half and we're playing fairly defensive and they push for it, I could see us getting another in the second, maybe with one of the subs coming off the bench. So yeah, I think a 2-0. We're thinking the same wavelength this week, Louise. So hopefully we can get that 2-0 away win. And then after that, Louise, we will then be in our roughly 6-week break
yeah.
until we come
I,
back
I wanna.
in August for the next NWSL fixture.
Yeah, look, guys. I know I have no say, but I just came and I do want to give kudos to. I want to give kudos to the reigning, defending USL Super League champions, another Florida team, another women's Florida team, Tampa Bay Sun, in which they defeated Fort Lauderdale United 1-0 in extra time with a goal of Cecile Floey from the Norwegian national team. Um, she scored a goal that it was an assist from Sydney Nacello, and it erupted. I mean, it was a sold out. Riverfront Stadium was sold out, and it was a really great experience. I want to say I took my daughter to the final, and she was ecstatic. She had a great time, and it was a great atmosphere for sure. But it brought me to my attention because I saw a lot of Pride jerseys in this game, a lot of them. I was surprised. I saw a lot of friends that were there. Some of them who they are, if I'm mentioning them, that see our podcast. I got approached by a couple of people I was with my little one, and you know, a lot of people recognize what we're doing, and you know, it was fun. It was hot as hell. I'll be honest with you. Um, I mean, it was like the sun was the sun, man. I mean, it was hot, you know. And again, I do want to say it was a tremendous win by another Florida team, and it brings to my question: why not? You know, it is a proper. I think it'd be great for Orlando to. It's. I think it's time an I-4 derby, champion versus champion, one game at Interco, one game at Riverfront, and spark up now that the Rowdies are completely dead. Spark up this rivalry, but now in the women's side, and then Orlando City fans are going to be able to join because you know they always want to hate on Tampa Bay. So I mean, I think it'd be a perfect opportunity. You give, you know, some of our roster that may not be having a lot of minutes to play. You know, it'll be great to see, you know, how both teams are stacking up. This is a young league, the USL Super League. It's a young league. It's a D1. But I mean, be honest with you, I mean, they have Tasha Flint. She used to play Manchester. She used to play Liverpool. Tasha Flint plays there. She just won a championship. Jordan Listro, after you know, kind of leaving the Pride, she won a championship with Tampa now. Erica Timrak retired with a championship. So a lot of former Orlando players, a lot of Orlando fans went to see this game. It was great to see supporting women's soccer. It was a sold out night. So I just kind of want to bring it up because it'll be cool, you know, just to face that. I know that Fort Lauderdale was going to face another NWSL team later on as well. Now, I don't know if I'm getting too ahead, but you know, I saw, you know, I mentioned on the last pod, you know, players befriend each other either from college, either from playing in other NWSL teams that they used to be before the Pride. You know, I might have seen some familiar faces here and there. That's all I'm gonna say in that game.
Yeah. I want to say, first of all, you want to read the comments we got here?
Sure. Of all side words, the Sun game was super fun. Me and my friend yapped so hard, the girl in front of us thought we were referees, says of all sad words. LM Orlando, ready for a Yates, Doyle, or Watt goal. Another McCutcheon sounds good too. While we're at it, Martin and Angelina are heating up too. Outside of box Brazilian banger for one, please. That says, and yes, I saw tons of Pride jerseys. I wore one until I sweated through. I know, right? LM Orlando, I'm ready to see some NWSL versus USL Super League matchups. It'll be great. It'll be great. Now, I had to buy my daughter a hat because
So sunny.
I feel so bad for her. I didn't prepare. I feel such a bad parent. Like
The sun is not brutal out there when you're no coverage and you're just yeah. I went and found the article that says at NWSL this year what this time is coming up. It says the league play will for a CBA mandated break from June 23rd to 29th. And during the month of July, where Confederation competitions, UEFA Europe and Copa America Femenil are staged. During this break, the regular season, NWSL clubs will have flexibility to compete in matches against other professional women's teams, including international opponents, ensuring continued competition for all NWSL players. More details will be released by each NWSL club at a later date. That was on January 6th. At the beginning of this year. So, yeah, like we talked about before, we're going into this break, Luis, not really knowing what the club's plan is for it. There's been no games announced. If they are going to be playing some games, obviously the international players that are being called up, the Brazilians, Anna, the Zambians, etc., they're gonna be away. They're gonna be busy. not the whole time, but some of the time. But everybody else, the rest of the squad, I don't know what we're going to be doing. So hoping that the Pride will announce something during this time. If not, we're still going to be here doing the Pride Pod. At least we've got some fun things lined up for us. So next week we are going to be uh, doing a review, of course, of the Racing Louisville result from this week, and then we're going to kind of do a mid-season review and talk about the year so far and what's left in the season and what we think vis-a-vis Champions Cup, all that stuff, and how we think we're going to do in the postseason, etc. Kind of look at the season so far as a halfway point.
Yeah, I mean, some of these national team players are going to be, like you said, playing with their squads, so they're going to be match ready. And if we give, um, I hate to say B team, but I mean, some of our starters
I mean, give
plus
them minutes. What's wrong with
you give
that?
him minutes. There's
It's
nothing
friendlies,
wrong.
man. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong. I mean, you have people like Amanda Allen. You have people. Julie Doyle. Maybe try a different position. Maybe more of a striker. Back at her as striker. Like
Yeah.
we just gotta find more weapons in our arsenal to contend for this championship. As you can see, one of the big difference between both D1 leagues in the United States is that the NWSL is not only there's better competition, but it's just a longer league, more strenuous. It's a little bit more of like physical, and there's more wear and tear. In which the USL Super League is only like what, not even 10 teams for now. So we have to understand that they're gonna have to find a way to not just, like you said, depend on Barbara Band. And I think it'll be a great opportunity to face either a USL Super League team or just any team in general, just to because you don't want to come back and then have cold decks and then depend on Barbara again. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, it says here, of all sad words, I feel like we have to do something in July, but they haven't said anything at all. Yeah, so hopefully they said something. I mean, maybe we should invite Haley. Just come over and do her mid season review.
Sure. I mean, I've got some plans what we're gonna do, but yeah,
Okay.
we'll get some interviews lined up if we can, and see what we can cook up for you guys and try and keep us entertained over this period where we've not got a lot to talk about. Maybe there'll be some summer signings, Luis. Who knows? Maybe there'll be some transfer news.
Yeah,
Obviously, there's the international games. We'll talk about the women's national team. We'll talk about the Brazil games, the Zambia games, etc. But yeah, no Pride games week in week out. So it's gonna be a quiet summer of Pride.
for sure. Check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Also, we're on X, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube as LP_podcast, Loud and Proud Orlando. Anything else you want to add, John, before we go?
No, thank you guys for supporting and watching and commenting. We appreciate you all, and Vamos Pride.
Vamos Pride. Have a good one, guys. Thank you.